well compared to neighboring countries. He says the Philippine economy remained among the top performers in Asia, despite multilateral agencies' downgraded forecasts for every country. Balisacan and Finance Chief Ben Jokno are also optimistic that the country will post a full-year economic growth close to 6 to 7% target. However, the Bangko Sentral believes the country will fall short of the target growth despite sustained economic growth in the fourth quarter. BSP Director Dennis Lapid said the GDP likely grew by 5.9% in the fourth quarter, mirroring the expansion recorded in the third quarter. The country needed to grow by at least 7.6% in the fourth quarter to meet the lower end of the target range. Elevated inflation is seen to continue weighing on economic growth next year. NEDA Secretary Arsenio Balisacan earlier identified inflation as among the challenges to achieving the government's target expansion for 2024, shortly after the government narrowed its 2024 expansion for 2024. Shortly after, the government narrowed its 2024 growth target from 6.5 to 8% to 6.5 to 7.5%. If inflation remains elevated, it is seen to affect private consumption, which is a key driver to the country's economic growth. Multilateral lenders and think tanks also project the Philippine economic growth to fall short of the target next year. Among them is S&P Global Market Intelligence, which sees the Philippines hitting a 5.6% growth in 2024. S&P says the expansion will be supported by consumption and infrastructure spending. But still some good news. The Philippine poverty rate dropped to 22.4% in the first half of 2023 from above 23% 2 years ago. According to the PSA, the 22% rate translated to about 25.2 million Filipinos. This meant that almost 900,000 people have lifted themselves from poverty and have now reached middle-class status. House Speaker Martin Romualdez assured that the House would continue pursuing and funding programs intended to improve the lives of millions of poor Filipinos. President Bongbong Marcos said that he wants the poverty level pegged in 2019 at 18%, cut to 8% before 2028. Lots of economic headlines to discuss as we near 2024. So here to share with us his insights, we have with us on the show UANP Economic Professor Ronilo Balbieran. Prof, good morning. Thank you for joining us this morning despite of that video okay you had.
Merry Christmas to all.
Merry Christmas, Prof. Let's get right to it, Prof. Day after Christmas and 2023 about to end. Now, do you agree with Malacanang that the economy performed well this year? What is your assessment?
Well, this is to be taken in terms of the challenges that we face in 2023. So therefore, a lot of expectations at 6 to 6.2% of GDP growth for 2023. But, you know, they all cut back our forecast. But now it seems that we are going to hit at least 5.9 to 6% as we close 2023. So don't be surprised if we hit the full year at 6% because of all these surprises that we had for the third quarter. So going to the fourth quarter, I believe there are still reasons that will make us achieve around 6%.
So in essence, with all that you've said right now, you agree with the BSP saying that the 2023 GDP falls short of target growth of the 6 to 7%?
Again, we may be surprised that we can actually hit 6 or more, but that is dependent on the actual holiday spending that we had over the holidays. And so remember that we have very good numbers in employment towards third quarter and entering October and November, and we had a very good inflation number October and November. So that should give us additional push for us to achieve the lower end of the target. Now, so the Philippine economy has been surprising us every month for the whole year of 2023, and so it's everybody's ball game, so they say.
Prof, let's now talk about 2024. Now, what are we expecting for the economy? NEDA said inflation is seen to be a challenge. What is your take on that?
Well, bad news is that expectations are down, or forecasts are down. The good news, all expectations are down, so therefore we have no other way but up. So, and in relation to that, we have number one, a larger budget from the national government.
Yes.
Number two, we have the new Secretary of the Department of Agriculture. So by the time we enter 2024, he would have actually warmed up in relation to bringing in his professional expertise in
Yes.
agriculture to our Department of Agriculture. And number two, we have the Special Presidential Assistant, Frederick Go, who is now commissioned to bring in his expertise in investments and enterprise development, so overseeing a lot of the groups, economic groups of our government. So these are very important development, together with the development with our new two laws, the Internet Transactions Act,
Yes.
and the new Public-Private Partnership Code. So these are a set of weapons that our private sector and the public sector can actually utilize and maximize, so that we can actually face our 2024 expected challenges with a victory in mind, and actually we can actually grow by more than 5% or 6%, because others are actually floating a number of 4.5. I respectfully disagree with those pessimism.
But Prof, we should take into account also that next year, or 2024, will be the impact. We will feel the impact of El Nino fully, supposedly. No, what can we do then to mitigate its effect on inflation and the overall economy?
Well, it's all about the agriculture, and so therefore I'm very happy that our Department of Agriculture has so much significant increase in budget, together with a significant increase in budget with the National Irrigation Administration. And we've seen all this memorandum of understanding and memorandum of agreement being signed by DA, NIA, DNR, DOE. So this is a concerted effort to really prepare for this very big El Nino that is about to come. So we have to put our acts together in terms of putting together the water, and then don't waste the water, deal with water with multiple use, irrigation, water supply, solar power, energy. So let's put them all together so that we can save up on the water, and so we don't necessarily have to face a very large dilemma on which we will prioritize. Is it agriculture or is it water supply for domestic use? So we don't have to face that challenge if we all work together, put all the water that we can save, and produce all the food, the water, the energy, electricity that we can get from there, so that we can avoid inflation and we can continue growing our economy. And related to what you've shown a while ago, in relation to poverty reduction, and then we can continue maximizing the opportunities for our country.
Yeah, but Prof, would you recommend more monetary tightening?
No more. Why? Because monetary tightening can be felt 12 to 18 months. So they have already tightened up significantly in 2022, and they had a knee-jerk reaction policy rate hike in October. So I think those are enough increases in our monetary policy. What's important now is fiscal policy. No, monetary policy will be very useless if you have supply side driven inflation. It will actually dampen our growth. It will actually dampen more loans for increasing our capacity to produce more. So I think what we have right now as a policy rate is actually enough to stabilize our inflation. But what we need are all the fiscal support that the government can bring to our economy, to our agriculture, to our digital economy, so that we can actually increase production. The name of the game for 2024 is production and income generation.
So we're talking about production and income generation. But Prof, to supposedly to give the more production and better income generation. What do you see then are the bright spots for the economy to at least drive this up?
Well, we welcome double-digit growth already from our tourism. So 2022, we had the domestic tourism. Towards the second half of 2023, we've seen a fast acceleration of foreign tourism. So we expect that there will be a full swing of foreign tourist arrivals for our country that will actually generate a lot of income for our country. And if we are able to combine tourism with e-commerce, rural development, and these very bright spots happening in the agriculture scene. So agriculture, tourism, e-commerce. Then if you combine all of that, then actually it can provide so much push for our economy so that we can all increase our income and GDP.
Well, Prophet, all things that you've mentioned, what then would be your growth and inflation projections for 2024?
I think the inflation will continue to go down. So we will, by the first half of 2024, ceteris paribus, no, with what's happening in the Middle East, etc., Red Sea. So I think inflation will continue to go down. It's follow its downward trend, and I think we'll be less than 4% by the time we enter second quarter of 2024. So that should provide additional help for alleviating the decrease in the purchasing power of our families. No, so we will be within range, not 2 to 4%, primarily for the whole of 2024. And our GDP, we can still hope at 5.5 to 6% for the whole year of 2024. And in fact, I'm hoping that our Philippine economy will surprise us again and hit us by 7 to 8%, because all these projections, but at the end of the day, we need 8%. We need 8% for 8 consecutive years. So whatever we can do together as a country, let's all do it together so that we can grow by at least 8% next year. But of course, the prevailing forecast is around 5 to 6%.
Okay. Well, thank you very much for your insights and for joining us, and have a happy new year to you, Prof. UANP Economic Professor Ronilo Balbiran.
Merry Christmas, Jacob.
Merry Christmas. We'll be back with more stories after the break. Keep it here on One News. You're still watching One News Now. I'm Diego Castro. Another round of hefty oil price hikes takes effect today, December 26th, the last round of pump price increases this 2023. Diesel prices are up by 1 peso and 70 centavos per liter, gasoline by 1 peso and 60 centavos, and kerosene by 1 peso and 54 centavos. The Energy Department attributes the adjustments partly to oil tankers avoiding sailing in the Red Sea amid attacks by the Houthi group on commercial vessels. In other news, the total number of fireworks-related injuries this holiday season has climbed to 52. That's after the Health Department recorded 24 fireworks-related injuries on Christmas Day and earlier today. 5 of these patients underwent traumatic amputation, resulting in lost or mangled fingers and hands. 3 of them were minors and 2 were adults. Metro Manila accounted for 38% of the injuries. The DOH has earlier urged local governments and authorities to stop the sale of illegal fireworks in their localities. Parents are also advised to watch over their children and use noise-making alternatives in the coming New Year celebrations. The Philippine Economic Zone Authority says at least 4 foreign electric vehicle manufacturers are reportedly looking to set up manufacturing facilities in the Philippines. PEZA Director General Tereso Pangar revealed that they are in talks with one American firm which will manufacture e-buses, e-heavy equipment, and even cars. Apart from this, 2 EV manufacturers from China and 1 from Indonesia are also eyeing to set up manufacturing facilities in the country. Panga said the EV firms are looking at Calabarzon and Central Luzon area, particularly Pampanga and Cavite as potential locations for their facilities. For 2024, PEZA aims to approve 250 billion pesos worth of investments as it hopes to return to its previous peak levels of investments. And those are the top business stories of the hour. I'm Diego Castro. Join us again at 2 p.m. We are One News. All sides, all the time.